This isn't science fiction anymore.
An uncomfortable gap is developing in understanding.
Raising alarms tonight about AI's potential impact on employment that could...
The public are increasingly using AI for everything, but are blissfully unaware an AI now exists that's as smart as humans.
We have no idea how AI actually works. We don't know how to look inside it and understand what's going on.
Ended his life after developing a relationship with a chatbot.
The diminished safety team are now frantic.
And so it's getting a lot more powerful.
AI could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs. How soon might that happen?
We need to be fairly concerned that behaviors like this may get way worse.
There's risks that come from people misusing AI, and that's most of the risks and all of the short-term risks. And then there's risks that come from AI getting super smart and deciding it doesn't need us. And I talk mainly about that second risk because lots of people say, is that a real risk? And yes, it is. Now, we don't know how much of a risk it is. We've never been in that situation before. We've never had to deal with things smarter than us. So really the thing about that existential threat is that we have no idea how to deal with it. We have no idea what it's going to look like. And anybody who tells you they know just what's going to happen and how to deal with it, they're talking nonsense.
Training machines to help us as aides, scientific research partners, inventors, creators is absolutely essential. And so the upside is phenomenal. It's enormous. But AI isn't just a thing. It's not an inevitable whole. Its form isn't inevitable, right? Its form, the exact way that it manifests and appears in our everyday lives and the way that it's governed and who it's owned by and how it's trained, that is a question that is up to us collectively as a species to figure out over the next decade. Because if we don't embrace that challenge, then it happens to us.
I've been speaking to a few people about artificial intelligence, trying to understand it. And I think where I am right now is I feel quite scared. But when I get scared, it's not the type of scared that makes me anxious. It's not like an emotional scared. It's a very logical scared.
So all of us, me included, feel what you just described when you first get to grips with the idea of this new coming wave. It's scary, it's petrifying, it's threatening. Is it going to take my job? Is my daughter or son going to fall in love with it? You know, what does this mean? What does it mean to be human in a world where there's these other human-like things that aren't human? How do I make sense of that? It's super scary.
We don't need ChatGPT to take us to the worst case scenario. We are already losing our capacity to understand the world we live in, to manage the tools that we are creating, to live in harmony with each other. We are losing those things in the present prior to ChatGPT. All of those problems get worse. This is like an accelerant, right? This is like you had a house fire and then you just threw gasoline on it, right? Now we have a raging house fire.
So we're looking at a world where we have levels of unemployment we've never seen before. I'm not talking about 10% unemployment, which is scary, but 99%. All you have left is jobs where, for whatever reason, you prefer another human would do it for you. But anything else can be fully automated. I'm hoping to make sure that superintelligence we're creating right now does not kill everyone.
People say that it will create new jobs though, so we'll be fine.
Yes, and that's been the case for other technologies, but this is a very different kind of technology. If it can do all mundane human intellectual labor, then what new jobs is it going to create? You'd have to be very skilled to have a job that it couldn't just do. Really, the thing about that existential threat is that we have no idea how to deal with it. We have no idea what it's going to look like. And anybody who tells you they know just what's going to happen and how to deal with it, they're talking nonsense. So we don't know how to estimate the probabilities it'll replace us. You know, people say, well, why don't we just stop it now? We're not going to stop it because it's too good for too many things.
And so now, smartest people in the world, billions of dollars, all going to create the best possible superintelligence we can. Unfortunately, while we know how to make those systems much more capable, we don't know how to make them safe, how to make sure they don't do something we will regret. And that's the state of the art right now. when we look at just prediction markets. How soon will we get to advanced AI? The timelines are very short, a couple of years, 2-3 years, according to prediction markets, according to CEOs of top labs. And at the same time, we don't know how to make sure that those systems are aligned with our preferences. So we are creating this alien intelligence. If aliens were coming to Earth and you had 3 years to prepare, you would be panicking right now. But most people don't even realize this is happening.
I think AI is a lot further ahead than people think, moving a lot faster than people think, and the impact is a lot closer than people think. The impact is unfortunately not always positive, even though I tend to believe that there is absolutely no inherent positive or negative about intelligence, about abundant intelligence or artificial intelligence. I tend to believe that intelligence is an energy with no polarity. The challenges in the near term might be that we, not we as humanity at large, but the systems that humanity put in place might lead us to abuse AI in favor of some at the expense of the majority at first. Then humanity would fall in place, and hopefully in what I normally refer to as the second dilemma, when AI itself takes over, then the long-term impact of this would probably be a utopia that we've never actually imagined.
What jobs are going to be made redundant in a world where I am sat here as a CEO with 1,000 AI agents?
Right.
I was thinking of all the names of the people in my company who are currently doing those jobs. I was thinking about my CFO when you talked about processing business data, my graphic designers, my video editors, etc. So what jobs are going to be impacted?
Yeah, all of those. I think if your job is as routine as it comes, your job is gone in the next couple of years. So meaning if in those jobs, for example, quality assurance jobs, data entry jobs, you're sitting in front of a computer and you're supposed to click and type things in a certain order. Operator and those technologies are coming on the market really quickly, and those are going to displace a lot of labor.
Even they, right? A mechanic who does not know what he's doing, but is able to consult this device in order to figure out what is likely causing a problem, is going to become less and less capable. So I don't know what we're supposed to do about it, but I do know we're not ready. We're not ready, and the rate at which this is going to get better is clear, right? Exposing it to larger and larger data sets is going to make it better and better at simulating this kind of interaction. And that's if it stays unconscious. The question of what happens if this doesn't stay unconscious, or this stays unconscious but its descendant picks up consciousness, is even more troubling.
If you have this concept of a drop-in employee, you have free labor, physical and cognitive, trillions of dollars of it. It makes no sense to hire humans for most jobs. If I can just get, a $20 subscription or a free model to do what an employee does, first, anything on a computer will be automated. And next, I think humanoid robots are maybe 5 years behind. So in 5 years, all the physical labor can also be automated. So we're looking at a world where we have levels of unemployment we've never seen before. I'm not talking about 10% unemployment, which is scary, but 99%. All you have left is jobs where, for whatever reason, you prefer another human would do it for you. But anything else can be fully automated. It doesn't mean it will be automated in practice. A lot of times, technology exists, but it's not deployed. Video phones were invented in the 70s. Nobody had them until iPhones came around. So we may have a lot more time with jobs and with world which looks like this. Mm-hmm. But capability to replace most humans and most occupations will come very quickly. We make AI so quickly, it doesn't have time to propagate through the industry, through technology. Something like half of all jobs are considered BS jobs. They don't need to be done, bullshit jobs. So those can be not even automated, they can be just gone. But I'm saying we can replace 60% of jobs today with existing models. We're not done that. So if the goal is to grow economy, to develop, we can do it for decades without having to create super intelligence as soon as possible.
Do you think globally, especially in the Western world, unemployment's only going to go up from here? Do you think relatively this is the low of unemployment?
I mean, it fluctuates a lot with other factors. There are wars, there's economic cycles, but overall, the more jobs you automate and the higher is the intellectual necessity to start a job, the fewer people qualify.
Over the last few years, I would say the default reaction has been to avoid the pessimism and the fear, right? To just kind of recoil from it and pretend that it's like either not happening or that it's all going to work out to be rosy, it's going to be fine, we don't have to worry about it. People often say, well, we've always created new jobs. We've never permanently displaced jobs. We've only ever seen new jobs be created. Unemployment is at an all-time low, right? So there's this default optimism bias that we have. And I think it's less about a need for optimism and more about a fear of pessimism. And so that trap, particularly in elite circles, means that often we aren't having the tough conversations that we need to have in order to respond to the coming wave.
In the past, new technologies have come in which didn't lead to joblessness. New jobs were created. So the classic example people use is automatic teller machines. When automatic teller machines came in, a lot of bank tellers didn't lose their jobs. They just got to do more interesting things. But here, I think this is more like when they got machines in the Industrial Revolution, and you can't have a job digging ditches now because a machine can dig ditches much better than you can. And I think for mundane intellectual labor, AI is just going to replace everybody. Now, it may well be in the form of you have fewer people using AI assistants. So it's a combination of a person and an AI assistant are now doing the work that 10 people could do previously.
People say that it will create new jobs though, so we'll be fine.
Yes, and that's been the case for other technologies, but this is a very different kind of technology. If it can do all mundane human intellectual labor, then what new jobs is it going to create? You'd have to be very skilled to have a job that it couldn't just do. So I don't think they're right.
With everything that you see ahead of us, what is the biggest threat you see to human happiness?
I think the joblessness is a fairly urgent short-term threat to human happiness. I think if you make lots and lots of people unemployed, even if they get universal basic income, they're not going to be happy.
Because they need purpose.
Because they need purpose, yes.
And struggle.
They need to feel they're contributing something, they're useful.
And do you think that outcome, that there's going to be huge job displacement, is more probable than not?
Yes, I do.
And what sort of
that one I think is definitely more probable than not. If I worked in a call center, I'd be terrified.
And what's the time frame for that in terms of mass job
I think it's beginning to happen already. I read an article in The Atlantic recently that said it's already getting hard for university graduates to get jobs. And part of that may be that people are already using AI for the jobs they would have got.
What should I do with my future? What should I pursue in the light of everything you know about how artificial intelligence is going to change the world and computational power and all of these things? What should I dedicate my life to? What do you say?
I would say knowledge is power. Embrace, understand, grapple with the consequences, don't look the other way when it feels scary, and do everything you can to understand and participate and shape, because it is coming.
Maybe we have finally arrived at the place where mundane work doesn't need to exist anymore and the pursuit of meaning can replace it. But that's not going to happen automatically if we don't figure out how to make it happen. And I hope that we can recognize that the peril of this moment is best utilized if it motivates us to confront that question directly.
There's still a chance that we can figure out how to develop AI that won't want to take over from us. And because there's a chance, we should put enormous resources into trying to figure that out, because if we don't, it's going to take over.